This weekend, get ready for a night of great championship fights. UFC 259, the last style bender, Israel Adesanya, moves up to face dangerous puncher, Polish power, Jan Blachowicz at light heavyweight. Also on the card, the destructive Amanda Nunes versus Australia's Megan Anderson. Use the Boxingego link in the description to order UFC 259, ESPN Plus pay-per-view. And for $20 more, you'll get ESPN Plus, a 1-year subscription. UFC 259, Blachowicz versus Adesanya. Should be a great night of fights on a very stacked card. Saturday, March 6th. You don't want to miss this. I'll see you at the fights.
It looks like Devin Haney is going to fight against Jorge Linares, but a fight with Lomachenko in the future is still possible, and we're going to talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Tonight is the night, UFC 259, Israel Adesanya. Make sure you click the link in the description to order UFC 259 using my link. Should be a great card, stacked card even. Israel Adesanya looked good at the weigh-in, and we'll see how it turns out. Now, in boxing news, it looks like there were rumors that Devin Haney and Jorge Linares' team were in advanced talks to make a fight, and it looks like a deal has been reached, according to sources. But if Devin Haney, who's 22, gets beyond a fight with Jorge Linares, which to me is a step in the right direction for his young career, this is a quote from Eddie Hearn and what he had to say. Devin Haney's dad, Bill Haney, called me and said, make the Lomachenko fight. Eddie Hearn replied, I'm happy to do that fight, and Devin is more than happy to fight Lomachenko. That would probably be a preferred fight to the Jorge Linares fight, but if we can't, Linares is pretty much agreed and ready to go. I think it'll be Linares and Haney rather than Lomachenko, end quote. So, once again, Devin Haney and his team have pushed for and advocate for the bigger fight, you know? So I don't want to hear any nonsense about, oh, why is he fighting Jorge Linares? Listen, I look at boxing on a case-by-case basis, and from what I see, Devin Haney looks to be very hungry, and he looks to want to prove himself. And I think Devin Haney, one good thing about him is just from being around his team, they've had money for a while, right? And the reason I'm saying that is because when you have and deal with money, it doesn't become foreign to you. You know how to, like, you might have had money and lost money gambling or made a bad investment or whatever. So you know how to act after you've had money for some time. And since Team Haney, that's not really what they're in it for. Of course, they want to make, prize fighter, they fight for a prize, but they've had money for a while, even before he turned pro. So their motives are a little bit different versus you see other people navigating and they're trying to get just the big paychecks and the easiest task. Devin Haney has already had money and a lucrative career and, just nice things. So that part is not foreign to him. So he's really in the lane of trying to show the world his skill set, what he's been learning and stuff like that. So I commend Devin Haney for that attitude. Listen, Linares, I don't mind the fight. Again, how could I mind it when Vasyl Lomachenko could have fought Devin Haney when he was calling him out and Devin Haney was calling him Lomachenko? But Team Lomachenko, it's on record that Top Rank agreed and petitioned to the WBC that they wanted to make Lomachenko the same franchise champion that Canelo was previously made. So that's not Devin Haney's fault. Devin Haney pushed for the Lomachenko fight, publicly declared it, says, let's make the fight. He's saying it again, and the fight didn't happen for obvious reasons because Top Rank and Team Lomachenko, they preferred to make the in-house fight, which is very funny when you hear some of the same fans that they push for Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, and they want all the promotional boundaries and Cold Wars and things like that defied in that circumstance, say, hey, Errol Spence needs to get over it, just make the fight for the fans. But how many times has Top Rank or other companies opted to make the in-house fight rather than the outside fight? So why doesn't that same rule apply when Devin Haney was pressing for a fight with Lomachenko, or after Teofimo beat Lomachenko and Teofimo and Devin were engaging in banter? How come Top Rank didn't just put all politics aside to make Devin Haney versus Loma or Devin Haney versus Teofimo? So once again, you see the double standards in boxing. Old media only advocates for mostly PBC to be the bigger person and not opt for the in-house fight and, do what's best for boxing to make Crawford and Errol Spence. But truth be told, most of these promoters, if given the same situation that PBC's in, if they had the top talent, they would opt to keep the money in-house. So if it's a win, it's a win for the company. If it's a loss, it's a loss for the company. And that's been the case. Top Rank is no different, right? So Devin Haney, Lomachenko is a good fight. Doesn't look like it's going to be next. It looks like it's going to be Jorge Linares. I'm still good with that fight because I know in my heart that Devin Haney has pushed for Lomachenko. He's again saying that he wants to fight it. There was some talk about him and possibly Gary Russell Jr. That didn't quite work out. But he's also pushed for Ryan Garcia, who really should be pushing for Devin Haney. Devin Haney has the WBC belt and Ryan Garcia is the mandatory. So why wouldn't Ryan Garcia want to get that, full-on belt from the WBC? Instead, Ryan Garcia is saying Devin Haney should do more and it's not a fight that motivates him, and Devin got to fight someone in the top 10. And his only claim to fame is really the Luke Campbell fight in which he was dropped in the second round. And you also seen Devin Haney come to that fight in support and watch as an interested spectator. You've seen Devin Haney and Bill Haney in the crowd. So you have certain fighters like Devin Haney. He's pulling up and letting it be known that he wants this guy next. He's showing up to Ryan Garcia, Luke Campbell. You had the same behavior from Shakur Stevenson. Shakur pulled up to Miguel Berchelt versus Oscar Valdez because he said he wanted the winner, And what we don't see is Teofimo pulling up to Devin Haney's fight and saying, hey, let's really get this rocking. Or Ryan Garcia pulling up to Devin Haney's fight, stuff like that. So I'd like to see that playing field. If these young cats really want to fight, do what Devin and Shakur Stevenson are really doing and pull up to the fight and, talk to your people and your team and promoter and say, I will not accept nothing but this. Teofimo, when it came to getting more money, he was able to finagle and find a way and finesse the situation to get what he wanted. So have that same, outside of the monetary gain and the purse bid with the Kambosos fight and the fight being on Triller, have that same energy and that same dedication to fighting Devin Haney. You said you'll bust his ass. I feel like it's the same. Have that same energy and aggression that you have for getting a bigger purse, which Devin Haney has been getting. Have that towards getting your promoter to make none other than these fights. Because I personally would rather see Teofimo and Devin Haney rather than George Kambosos. So I'm not mad at the Linares fight. We know why the Linares fight would happen. Devin Haney, he keeps calling himself the boogeyman, but nobody's shutting him up. Nobody's saying, you're not the big boogeyman. I'll show you why. The only person that is doing that is Javier Fortuna. I will give Javier Fortuna his just due credit. He has said, he's talked some trash and said he'll fight Devin Haney. But again, he's also the guy with the least profile. And I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying, if we're talking Ryan Garcia, Teofimo, Devin Haney, Gervonta, Javier Fortuna's very dangerous, but his profile is also the least. So he has nothing to lose in calling out the big names. He's trying to secure those big bag fights, and I'm not mad at him for that. But, hopefully we get to see some of these big fights. As far as Lomachenko and Devin, Bob Arum said it's a great fight, but Bob Arum also said weeks before that Devin Haney is not ready to fight Teofimo. He has to build up and fight someone in the top 10 and stuff like that. So you praise Lomachenko, said he's the next Muhammad Ali. Teofimo beats him, and you say Devin needs to do more to get Teofimo, even though it would solve the whole mystery about who's undisputed and the whole WBC fiasco. that's at lightweight. But then you say Lomachenko is a great fight. So Devin keeps calling himself the boogeyman, and it's very, very hard to argue against that notion that he is the boogeyman or isn't the boogeyman when you see how things are playing out. Devin is saying it, but who's really pulling up with the smoke and saying, yo, let's get it done. I want you next. People keep telling Devin Haney, it's like the fighters are turning into matchmakers and saying, go fight this guy, fight someone that's ranked, fight this, but he's trying to fight you and you're shooing him off. And we see this time and time again. Errol Spence Jr. went through this. Keith Thurman went through this. It only happens when a guy is very dangerous and a guy is hard to beat. Same thing with Guillermo Rigondeaux, Erislandy Lara. Guys with styles that are hard to beat, aka very good fighters, crafty fighters, stealthy fighters, continually go through this. And it's oftentimes black fighters, Afro-Cuban fighters who, you know, are at the short end of this stick where they have a style and then people say, oh, you can't sell or do this or sell this amount of tickets or fight this guy first or get a belt, you know, instead of just saying, hey, it's a good fight. Like what do the fighters see? I'm telling you, as a consumer, I would pay for Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. But Ryan Garcia is saying it's not a fight that interests him right now, but he called him out after the fight and said, Devin, let's go. So, you know, it's just very confusing messages. Very, very confusing. Let me know what you guys think. Devin Haney, Lomachenko, maybe in the future. I'm not going to hold my breath at all, but we'll see how it plays out. Looks like Linares should be next. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. We working.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.